Following up on TrentMichaels' video about the update in the Vic Mignogna case, namely that Monica and Ron Toye, minus Jamie, have basically tried to push an update on their side of the story. Namely that Vic tried to get filed for a cease and desist order. Let me put this bluntly. Vic never did that. Why should the courts believe this? You know, I know, and the whole internet community know that that's a fucking lie. And let me compare Vic to Dame and contrast Vic to Damon's responses. When Vic was accused, he didn't get out of the gate to put a cease and desist order. He knew the evidence against him was falsified, so he filed for legal backup and sued for defamation. Personally, I think he should have sued Mars Girl first, since she was the bitch that caused all this. But that said, Funimation was hell bent on getting rid of Vic. Why? Because he doesn't fit the political agenda. He never did. Vic is a conservative Christian individual. Most everyone else at Funimation are full-blown liberals. And they will use any liberal talking points to justify their rotten behavior. I mean, now look at what happened when Damon was accused last week. He filed a cease and desist order, demanded, or in some cases, threatened the guy he molested to shut up, and it worked. Personally, if I was Duncan, I would have stood my ground and said, no, this is getting heard. I mean, like I said, woe to you, Funimation, or Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, Sentai, Bang Zoom, and any other dubbing company with this kind of whack job work environment. You hypocrites! You go across land and sea to get one damn convert. But when you get that convert, they are twice the child of hell you yourselves are. You say being at your autograph table is nothing. It means nothing. But it's the items that we put on the table that makes them valuable. You blind fools, what's more important, your John Hancocks, the table, or the items that you put your fucking John Hancocks on and make the table sacred? In the same way, you think it means nothing that we're in there with the merchandise in the venues. But the merchandise that you happen to be a part of, that's sacred. Again, what's more important? The items or the venue halls that sanctify and justify the purchases of the items? So therefore, you make a swear at an oath at the autograph table, you swear by it and everything that's put on top of it. And to swear by the venue, you swear by it and everything that's inside of it. Yes, I know I'm a Christian, but I'm using in this bit of Jesus' final sermon to the hypocritical scribes and Pharisees more as a point of context. For a point of context. It's no different than when you go to church. You where where your loyalty to God and God. You swear by heaven, you swear by God, by the throne of heaven, and God who sits on it. So once again, woe to you, voice actors and executives at Crunchyroll and Rooster Teeth, you hypocrites. I put emphasis on hypocrites. I don't use my New King James Version one a lot. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see, where is it? Oh, here's a good one I forgot that is usually left out of the Bible I normally use for these sorts of tirades. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses and make for pretense and for a pretense make long hair, long prayers. Therefore, you receive greater condemnation. That's the verse in most Bibles that usually gets left out. Matthew 23:14. You give a tenth, and back to the hypocrite part. You give a tenth of your offerings, your spices. Not that anyone does that nowadays, but just give it in context. Mint, dill, cumin, but neglect the greater matters of the law: justice, mercy, and good faith. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. So woe to you, blind guides! You strain at a gnat, but you swallow a camel. Woe to you, voice actors at Crunchyroll / Funimation, Rooster Teeth, or the bulk of you anyway, and executives. You hypocrites. You clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside, both are filled with greed and self indulgence. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and the dish, and then the outside will be cleansed. Woe to you, voice actors at Funimation / Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, everywhere else, and your corporate executives. You hypocrites. You're like whitewashed tombs, all fair and clean on the outside, but inside, full of dead men's bones and everything that's unclean. Monica and Jamie, and Ron, you two are among the biggest of hypocrites. And Ron, you trying to twist Damon's little story? Why should we believe you? You're cut from the same cloth as my father, a narcissistic, self-righteous sociopath, but 10 times worse. And you know what the major difference is between you and my old man, Ron? My father doesn't even remember he was that big of a sociopath now because he's got Alzheimer's. Yeah, my old man's dying. Alzheimer's before he even hits 70. I don't know how far along he's in it, though, folks. I'm guessing in between stages 1 and 2. And I have to put up with him on Saturday, for better or worse. That said, Crunchyroll has become a house of desolation, the home of the lizard and the spider, because it's full of snakes, a brood of vipers who have no hope of escaping their own damnation. Three of them cost me a chance to get Vic Mignogna to sign this in June. You know how long I've had this thing? Almost 5 years. And I haven't been able to get Vic to sign it. 2018, I got thrown out of Ichiban Con for bad behavior that they have legit evidence on me for, and thus I'm on the blacklist. 2019, someone robbed a good chunk of money out of my debit account out during and before and during Holly Hill Comic Con, and I couldn't afford to get him to sign it. 2020, COVID. 2021, the bullshit Delta strain reign, which pushed XCon back from Labor Day weekend, throw in scheduling conflicts with Dragon Con down in Atlanta. And I couldn't get this signed. 2022, and it got pushed back to around the weekend before Animazement. Unfortunately, Vic had a scheduling couldn't Vic wouldn't be able to sign it then because it ended up resulting in a scheduling conflict with Back Anime out in Bakersfield. And now Collecticon Charlotte. Now, I already stated, to be fair, Vic should have looked at the guest list and realized that three of his detractors were popping up. And we're going to pop up. Up at the start of June. But alas, not the case. I mean, I'm saddened by this. Now, Vic may have no choice to either skip out on Charlotte entirely or in the next 3 weeks show up at Heroes Con. And if he calls me into his stream tonight, and trust me, it's not likely given how I've always stated, talking to him on Twitch, it's a game of chance. I mean, in the small window he gives himself, it's always a game of chance. But personally, if this bullshit document does speed things up, I'm hoping it works against Maka and Ron. Why? Because they're only doing it because they want extra money. They weren't content with the 50 grand each they pulled out of Vic's pocket, as presented by the lazy ass John P. Chubb. And because of COVID, this case has been on the back burner for the last 2 years. But I think it's time we just end this fight. We force Maka and Ron and Jamie and all the bullshit others to confess to their crimes. I mean, you want someone who will believe all victims, Monica, Ron? Try talking to my mother! Because she actually helped victims of the crimes you accused Vic of. Need I pull this out again? What a twisted web you weave inside a maze of mirrors. But you're a fake. You're false. I was deceived. You fooled me into fear. But oh, better get behind me. Oh, break the ties that bind me. Oh, feel the freedom rising. No more. I'm fed up and had enough. And I think we're all fed up with this. Destroy all the lies. See through your disguise. I'm the destroyer. The destroyer. I will not be a slave. It's over. It's over. I will not walk away. This is no time for the faint at heart. It's time for war. For war. I'm the destroyer. Or how about this one? Your self proclaiming exaltation's coming to an end. Get up off my throne. Before I'm running down to judge and wage war. The armies of heaven at my command. Enemies, glory thieves, kiss the sun or get under my feet. Don't recognize me? You suppressed the truth. You say, Lord, Lord, but I don't recognize you. My kingdom is at hand. I am the earthquake. Armies shake at my name. I come for justice. Recognize your king. Do you want peace or war? When heaven's force comes riding on a white horse. I'm gonna strike you down with the sword of my mouth. Why did you live in doubt? Didn't you hear the words of the prophet? You should have known. I've got the words of God in my mouth. 2 months I've had this album, and several times I've had to break it out for limbastic purposes. If it's any consolation prize, when I show up at Amazement, I'll at least get Wendy Powell to sign this. This if I can't get Vic. Because if I remember correctly, she's been a hardcore co-founder of the Risen Bull Rangers, and I'm referring to Wendy. That said, I stand with Vic, now, then, and forever. Leave a comment, smash the like button, sub to my channel. Mets2128 signing the F out. Goodbye, and good effing night.